Welcome to this episode of the Comedy Defect podcast. My name is Winter, I'm a comedian, and this is my show. Those that are new to the show, welcome. Those that are old to the show, thanks for coming back, guys. This is episode 114, and if you don't know what this podcast is about, it's about comedians, because that's what we need in the world. More noise about comedy, because, you know, if you don't know how it works, we're going to hopefully tell you exactly what happens behind the curtain. And this might be one of those episodes, or it might just drift off onto something completely different, into just becoming a bit of a chat about what the person likes to eat. Now, these episodes were recorded during the lockdown, and I'm sorry it's taken so long to release these, but I tell you what, during the lockdown, I burnt myself out, and I just couldn't face another 3 hours of editing per episode. But luckily, last year, I broke my legs, so I was able to edit every single one of these and bring them to you, because there are some absolute nuggets of information that I really think are very important to the creation of comedy, and also the inner workings and an inspiration for comedy as well. Now, this might be one of those episodes. It might not be. As I say, it might just become a chat. And if you decide, but I don't want to force it down one end, I like to get to know the person I'm talking to. That's what I'm trying to say. This is episode 114 with an excellent comedian. He's been going about over 30 years, and he's a cantankerous kind of curmudgeon of a comedian, but he's absolutely brilliant. He's Canadian. It's Mike Wilmot. He is a brilliant comedian. He's one of those people that when I first started comedy, I was like, oh, I want that kind of attitude. But don't worry, as you get older, you become that anyway. But he's brilliant. I spoke to him for an hour. The beginning of the podcast was a bit all over the place, but it was hilarious. So I left it in, and it just really, it was fun because he was taking the piss during the sound check. And I thought, you know what? This is real. Let's keep it in, right? If you want to follow this guy, he's on Twitter. He's on Instagram as Mike Wilmot. That's MikeWilmot. One in the character. That's one is the character. He's on Instagram and he's on Twitter, all those places. Go follow him, go check his stuff out, go and see him live. Now, if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram as well, at Winter Dominus, and you can see some posts there. I won't be posting much because I say I've kind of broken my legs. I'm trying to go through rehab at the moment. But if you want to go to the Comedy Defect Facebook page, you can like our page there and also join the Facebook Comedy Defect group as well, and you'll see the posts for the podcast first there, and wherever you get all your podcasts, you know, the apps or whatever it is. And also you will see some gig dates as well, which I'll be posting up. Now, I'll be running some gigs in Hertfordshire. I've got one that runs the first Tuesday of the month, and that is in Redbourne, the Mad Hatter's Tea Room, and that's just a funny, quirky little gig there. And you will have comedians who have been on Live at the Apollo, and you'll have comedians that are just breaking through the circuit and onto TV. So we've got a mixture of people there, and so come and see that first Tuesday of the month. Go message me. You can find me online everywhere. My name is Winter Phonander, but I'm on there as Winter Dominus on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. So go find me in all those places. Now, if you like this podcast enough, and you want to donate, you can go to Patreon, type in the Comedy Defect podcast, and donate as little or as much as you feel this podcast is worth. But you don't want to donate, that's okay. Just share your favorite episode. Tell your friends about us. It tells people where we are and what we're up to. But if you don't want to do that, fuck it, it's fine. Just there's enough to do. I don't want to force you to do anything. So this is episode 114 with the incredible Canadian comic that is Mike Wilmot. He's on Instagram and Twitter as Mike Wilmot1. Go and check him out. He's excellent. So this is a podcast talking to him for an hour. Enjoy. Mike.
Hey, there we go.
Hey, how you doing?
Very good, very good.
Your mic is quite hot, Mike. If you don't, how are you? You okay?
Very good, except for my hot mic. But other than that, I'm fine.
That's good. That's good to hear. Or is it? Have you got a mic on your headset or something like that?
It's on my phone.
Okay.
So would it be better if I just had it further away from my big fat mouth, or can I turn it down?
I think it's probably just a little bit further away, Mike. That'd be great.
All right. How's that? Well, no, this could be my fantastic voice, but
yes, it's good. It's deep and resonant. I like that.
Yeah. Well, here, let's put it under the shirt, maybe, and then you can hear my heart and how slow it is. All right. How's that? That's even worse, isn't it?
Actually, it's not too bad. I think that it might be rubbing against your
masculine chest.
I was trying to put I've got the same problem. I grow an awful lot of chest hair as well. I see here you are suffering from the same problem.
Yes. Luckily, I have no hair on my legs, all on my front and back. There, I put it under like a sweater.
Okay, just get to try the levels again, please, Mike.
Check with the 1 and the 2. Maybe I'll just have my head up like this.
Yeah, actually,
maybe it's just my posture. Maybe I don't think it's my microphone at all. I think it's my horrific posture.
It sounds like I'm destroying everything about you at the moment.
That happens whenever I have to talk to another human.
That's true. Was it? Could you? Is it? Could you put it? Is it on a table? Is there a table nearby? You can maybe put it on, and there it should be.
Hold on. This is getting worse all the time. What's that?
That's much better. That's much better, actually. Yeah, we're not.
Well, there you go.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. Michael Wilmot, thank you for coming on the Comedy Defect and spending the next hour or so of your time. How are you getting on?
When you say or so, that means like 50 minutes to 70 minutes, right?
No. I usually go under, so you're fine. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Just okay. Don't. No. And I don't mean start again. For God's sake, I've seen your Twitter followers. You got 40 people.
Mate, I know. I deleted my Twitter account because I just got sick of changing my name, and then I went back to Twitter and re-uploaded everything and sort of like kind of made it nice.
Don't worry, I've got like 80 people. So that between the two of us, we're going to cover several countries.
It's going to be great. Hopefully not all of those are bots on my my account anyway.
I'll take bots. I'll take anybody.
That's great, right? And so how you been getting on? What have you been up to for the Okay.
I'm like many comedians. I have recently celebrated my 1 year of not working. Well, technically, I've done bits and bobs, but I'm Britishing up a bit for this interview. Right. Bits and bobs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've stopped being what I used to be for a year.
Right. And have you filled that vacuum with anything?
Drink.
Okay, cool. And
also, no. Weirdly, no. I've sort of discovered that I'm very surprised at how much I miss it, and all the different varying reasons why. I recently did a live show at a comedy club under strict, they had like less than half capacity. You're behind plexiglass, and it was thrilling. In a way, I think because of that one stupid show, I think comics, I think live entertainment in general is going to come back big. And I don't mean live, huge fucking festivals, Glastonbury big. I mean like nightclub entertaining is going to come back big. I think function rooms will be full, live bands, plays, everything, because I think people took it for granted. Because the joy that 50 or 55 people had that night was only matched by mine. It was incredible.
And so, did you take up any hobby in the lockdown apart from drinking, of course?
I've been relatively handy about the house. Fixing things here and there, but mostly and trying to write, which is very difficult because of I'm not a sit down typewriter type of guy. I cover things in napkins, and I need to then go to an open mic and talk to people. So I basically just have like a couple of books full of just dumb shit that I can't wait to tell people.
I found it very hard myself in the third lockdown to just kind of get motivated because you got nothing in sight to kind of like aim at, if you know what I mean.
That's right. That's right. And the pressure is gone. So and I need to. Luckily, I have a few friends that live in the country. So my missus and I, we get out when we can, or I will go solo to my friend's cabin and just be like a pretend lumberjack for like 2 weeks, and that helps. Because that's the woods, man. That's a very Canadian thing. You just get in the fucking bush and chop wood and remind yourself how close you are to death at all times if you don't stay warm.
Yeah, that's true. Was a friend of mine, he's a Canadian comic, he said that you have an awful problem with bed bugs in the wintertime. They all come in the house. Is that right?
Well, it depends on where he's from. Who is this?
This is Dave Tissonis.
Oh, Dave lives in flea bags. That's why he's on about that. Dave hasn't had a decent place to live in years.
Yeah, all right.
Dave, only people with bed bugs complain about bed bugs. He's coming in the winter. He's got bed bugs. I know Tissonis. He's rife with them.
Right, okay. How long have you been going?
As a comic?
Yeah, as a comic.
Fuck if I know.
Really? No?
Christ. I go through that at least once every month or so, as to when do you start counting? When did I truly not do it as a lark? Well, never as a lark. I would have. Okay, as a professional, when the last time I had a day job was near 30 years ago. But I had been doing it. There was only one club when I started in Canada. or in my part of Canada, just to get a 5-minute spot, you'd get maybe 5-10 minutes tops to work.
Yeah.
A month. So a very slow beginning. I was like 20 and I'm 58 now.
Right. And you in Toronto?
In TO. That's where I'm born and raised. Yeah. Right.
What was the jobs that were the worst jobs you did to kind of support yourself along the way of
none of them. I was lucky. I started working very young when I was a kid because my father ran a store.
Right.
So I worked in the hardware store from when I can remember to in my 20s, my early 20s. And then I worked at another store, hardware. In an easy way, you shoot the shit with a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
It's like a green room in the 80s. And then I worked at some fruity shop down Queen Street in the Beaches here in Toronto. And then I worked in a bar where I did stand-up on Saturdays. I knew I wanted to be a stand-up, so every job felt temporary because I was on my way to doing stand-up.
That's great. You knew you had the vision straight away. You didn't have to kind of like feel it out what you needed to do. That's great.
No, I remember when I was a child, I remember wanting to be in the comedy game. My father was, as was I, addicted to all kinds, silent film, everything. Yeah. Just loved the idea of making people laugh. Not even for a living, just I was insane from it's a disorder I had from as far back as I could remember. And
it's like that, working in like the hardware store and the blue collar sort of environment, they're just such great storytellers. I mean, you can just characterize
you can't beat hardware store people.
Yeah.
You can't beat old school hardware people. You would often walk in and my father would be closing with, and that's what the problem of the world is today. Everyone's a philosopher in the hardware game.
That's it.
And you knew the neighborhood really intimately. You knew their toilets. You knew everything about them.
What was the name of your hardware store?
It was called Your Hardware, as in belongs to you, the neighborhood hardware. Your Hardware.
Nice.
And his big joke was, you pick up the phone, you go, Your Hardware. And then someone would say, where are you located? So then my father could say, I'm 5 feet from the key machine. So that, you see, I grew up with this.
It's always there.
I grew up with this, always.
Did your dad ever come see you perform?
No. Christ, no. No, God, no. My father, I was in a low-budget film once, and the character, I swore a lot. And he was a rude dude. Like, he wasn't a good person. He was like this real prick. And when the movie came out, I told my father not to see it. And I found out years later he had gone with my stepmother and their priest.
Oh, right.
And the priest was there sort of to forgive. And it was nuts. Great. No, my mother's never seen me. They've seen me on telly where it's all been all clean, but they've never seen my nightclub acts. Dad's been gone for a few years. Right. I was almost going to say, thank God he's dead. But... And mom, she's an 85-year-old woman. She just had her shot. I want to have another. This would kill her in a second.
That's great. That's great. So the priest went to sort of exorcise the demon of the film, right? I like that.
I found out years later when I was at my stepbrother's wedding, and he was at the wedding, and he's no longer a priest, but he told me the movie was It's All Gone Pete Tong. It's about a pretend DJ. And they start off the movie saying it's a true story, which is bullshit. Right from the get-go, it's a lie. There's no fucking guy like him. That never did. Dave, the former priest, told me. He saw the movie. He thought it was lovely. He said, it's about redemption, Michael. And then what did I say? Oh, and the fact that it's based on a true story is wonderful. And I had to tell him that it's bullshit. And I said, this probably isn't the first time you've fallen for some kind of bullshit story, right? You're a priest. So that was my favorite thing that happened probably in that 3-year area.
And so you got that pretty early on in your stand-up career then?
Who?
Sorry, It's All Gone Pete Tong.
Oh, no, that was only 20 years ago.
Oh, sorry, 20 years ago. But when you're first cutting your teeth then, what was the, you were gigging at that night that you could get like a 5-minute spot in Toronto.
That would have been the 80s. That would have been. 80s.
Right, that was a bit like, that was an interesting, Dusk Till Dawn kind of style comedy back then, was it? What was it? Tell me what the scene was like then.
Yuck Yuck Sam was one, and it was the hottest room in town. You couldn't get near it. There was lineups to get tickets for the following week's show. It was at the very beginning of comedy when only the best were out there because it was such a small industry. And that goes for the United States as well. Only the top guys were working. There was only a very small amount of clubs. Then the boom happened. and then it all died, and that's when I got good enough. When it was completely dead, I was at my peak.
Right.
And that's when I went to Britain by mistake, and it worked out perfect.
I think comedy's the only. I was thinking about this about a few months ago. It's like comedy's the only job where they'll look around their country and go, "Joe, I'm tired of hearing these idiots. I want idiots from other countries to tell me about their idiocy."
Yes, I want to hear I want to hear what their hang-ups are.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, I had no idea gingers were treated such shabbily until I got to Britain. Like, we don't give a shit in this country. And also other countries who they say xenophobic and racist things about some other country, you have to learn about it to then become xenophobic. Like, I remember I was in Copenhagen doing some gig, and the opening act guy was like, oh, the fucking Finns. Like, you never hear anyone say anything xenophobic about the Finnish. It was lovely. It was refreshing.
Yeah, it's like white on white racism.
And Northerners in Britain, and the Scots and the Irish, and which side of the Irish question, and it's just lovely. It's just intolerance wherever you go. Yeah,
you're not of a certain clan. That's how it is. We don't want you're of the other always.
It's us and the barbarians. That's life.
Yeah, and
whoever isn't you is a barbarian.
When you first got on stage, were you doing acting before that, or did you have like just the chops?
Wait a minute. Let's try to remember. I went on with another guy from high school, and we had a double act. We did that 2 or 3 times. It was absolutely dire, but we were kids. I was like 18, 19. We got a couple of laughs, but only because of our amateurness.
Yeah,
shone through. But I think when I took a legitimate stab at it, I was like 20, 21 years old. Oh, man, I still remember some of those bombs to this. There's a club that just closed in Toronto called the Rivoli. And it's just this cool fucking comedy room that, the kids in the hall started there. And like they've had the best walk through that door, from Patton Oswalt to Paul F. Tompkins. Everyone has played the Riv. The coolest bands in the world played the Riv. It was just this great, great room. And I was sort of a good, above average road comic. And I thought I was pretty hot to trot. This is many moons ago. And so I got a spot at the Riv, this cool room. And it was, to this day, it was the biggest bomb of my life. Wow. And they were too cool to heckle. It wasn't like bombing in England where where they would just hand you your ass. Yeah. It was Canadian quiet. No one gives a cold shoulder better than a Toronto audience. Yeah. I could hear distant ice cubes rattling in glasses. It was the quietest thing I've ever fucking witnessed, and I spiraled into this timeless dark zone, and I played it before it closed down, and I tell the audience every time, it's still in here. That bomb is still in the wood. It's worked its way into the wood. Yeah. Funny if I was gigging with another Canadian comic called Angelo Tsaroukas. Oh, big thief. Go ahead. Yep. When I was very, very new, I'd only done like about 30 gigs, and I was in the Roisin Dove in Galway. I love it. And I was terrible, and I was like, it's a packed little room, isn't it? Like it's gorgeous. There's 80 people on top of each other, and it's just brilliant. And like I was just awful, and they applauded me on. It didn't even applaud me off. It was like that is the one where I remember that happened a long time ago. You hear your footsteps. Oh, exactly. You hear that creaky stage. Yeah. Time like as you said, the time, it just becomes like elastic, and it comes into a wormhole where you just, how long have I been up here? This seems like longer than the 5 minutes. That's it. Yeah, for sure. And it goes a complete 180 when it's great. Absolutely. 20 minutes is gone in a minute. Absolutely. Yeah. And so, like, do you remember your first joke you wrote? No, sort of, maybe. I don't know if it's the first one, but we have a ridiculous high, every town has their big high building. I had a bit about the CN Tower, and I can barely remember. I had a thing about a masturbating monkey at the zoo. Right. That was just doing it on purpose because, here come some people. And then I would do talking monkeys. Hey, jerk, pull out your cock, Harvey, or something dumb like that. Yeah. It was whatever it was. It wasn't well. It's like my jokes nowadays. Not well written, but beautifully performed. But none of my bits have ever been. I never sit and pretend you're masturbating like a giant monkey. Like I don't write like that. So I was horrible for a long time.
Yeah, so like
everyone is.
Yeah, that's it. No one's fully formed really unless they have training.
All these stories of he was great when he first came on. These are usually guys that have practiced a bit beforehand, and it's the first time you've seen them, and you say how great they are. It was so long ago, and it doesn't. Sometimes it feels like another human being did that. Actually, all times.
Yes, it's like skin. You're just shedding skins all along the way, isn't it?
Yeah. I've lost a few humans on the road when it comes to that.
I know we're constantly changing, but do you think that you're set at this stage? You know, like as in your persona or the person you are on stage.
I think they both worked to create a different me.
Okay.
I'm definitely a different human being because of what I do.
Right.
More so than a working guy, because you don't turn it off. When I was into it, maybe just shy 10 years, maybe I was in it maybe 8 years, something like that. I remember consciously becoming a comedian, thinking, okay, now I'll be a comedian all the time. Like I'll sleep it, I'll eat it, I'll be 24/7. I'll be a comedian, and only a comedian would think that's a great deal. Like I think that would scare a normal human. I'm going to accept this for being me. I think that's weird for comics, but or joyful. It depends on your angle. I think it's brilliant that I can fully immerse myself in what I want to be.
Yeah,
I think that works with a lot of people that are in the show business. I was going to say in the arts, but I hate saying that. So in the show business, and I like putting the in front of it. Yeah. The show business.
It feels more powerful. I like that.
It's bigger than art. Fuck art. It's just the show biz.
Yeah, we're not fine art. We're just real and down. It's down and dirty, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the original shit. This was before someone who said, hey, we can draw on these cave walls. Before that, there was just a guy that talks shit. And that's me. I'm channeling him. Yeah,
we're not Circus Soleil. We're not art. We're just comedy. That's right.
No, it's better than that. We can make fun of Circus Soleil. Yeah. Who, by the way, are in receivership.
Are they really? Oh, no.
Yeah,
okay.
Fuck, how many of those poor bastards have to return to the normal world?
That's true.
Some guy doing cartwheels in the grocery store getting you something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what are your skills are great, but they're not transferable. That is the problem, right?
No, not here at Super Savers.
That's true. It's the makeup thing. It's not good. It just freaks people out.
Please,
just start
with the costumes. Look, just the blue pants and the yellow shirt, please.
Yeah. Not uniform. But so like when you first started, were you very anecdotal and story based still, or were you?
No. I didn't have the nerve. I was working in my father's store, and I would write. I would hide in the basement for my lunch half hour, and do my 7-minute set, written down. I remember it. I had it pinned onto a door, and I would do it over and over and over. And we sold alarm clocks, so I would just set one of them, for 7 minutes, and just whatever fucking bullshit I would talk for 7 minutes, not listening. Which is a big thing you learn, just going through it to the end so I could say 7 minutes or something, and mostly garbage. And I had the balls to actually write in brackets, pause for laughter every so often, which sadly none of them had read that. And so 7 minutes of what I thought was 7 was actually 4 with no laughter. If you remove all the laughter, it was almost half the length. Yeah. And I would speed through it. And my voice would go up because I was terrified.
Yeah, was that the biggest thing for you at the start? Was the just having stage legs, or the thing to get over?
I was lucky. There was a comic when I was younger that's still working, and just saw a very funny guy, Evan Carter, and Evan told me not to panic. A few of the older guys were the kinder guys would just say, just learn how to hold a mic. Like worry about getting the microphone out of the stand cleanly, and mic technique. Learn that while you're doing your act, and that eased up on the joke telling, because I was just trying to, I took my time. I was in no rush.
Did you do any acting or in school, or just like you're like?
Oh yeah, I was in plays.
Yeah,
I think it was I did Fagin in Oliver.
Yeah. Great character.
The Ron Moody character.
Yes, excellent.
From the film. And I just aped Moody. I just did an impersonation of Moody. We had a nice little gymnasium theater. And I would walk out into the crowd, which wasn't in the script, but look at me, I'm going out of the way. And I would sit on someone's lap and I'd sing to them.
Nice.
My mother, I got a standing O, and my mother came up to me after the show and said, we lost you then. And they did Mary and Sam in a high school production that I stole it. I thought that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to become a song and dance man. I'd be 16 years old, and I got a standing O. And I knew then, I'm fucked. I will never return to the land of normal people. Yeah. My grades went down the shitter. I couldn't give a fuck. I got into this really exclusive or inclusive art school here in Canada, here in Toronto. I left after like 2 or 3 months, and I wanted some of my money back, and I was sitting with this counselor trying to get some of this dough back. and when she asked me, like, well, why are you leaving? I said, well, I just got Thursday nights at the comedy club in town. Yeah. And she goes, well, what does that pay? And I said, nothing. It pays nothing. But now it means I'm good enough to be a professional comic. I don't give a fuck about art school. Yeah. And she looked at me like I was insane. Yeah. How are we then? We're like 20? I would be in my... because I was a mature student. I had worked for a couple of years. So I'd be like 22. Wow. That's it. Something like that, yeah. That's great. That confidence at that age is brilliant, isn't it? And it made so much sense to me because I was an idiot. I had no fucking clue what I was doing. Yeah. So there's a bravery to that because you're just an idiot. Totally. Just onwards into the breach. I love that. I couldn't have trained to be a great artist for like fucking 2 more years or 3 more years and still did comedy. I could have done it all. Yeah. And now in my off time, I'd be painting pictures and selling them on the internet. But no, I'm a fucking idiot. And now I'm an unemployable comic in my fucking living room talking to myself, basically. Yeah. A Cirque du Soleil act without the gymnastics. There's no costume. I'm a lion tamer. They've taken the lion. I have no lion. I have a chair. They took the whip because I could hurt myself. I'm just a guy flailing around with a chair and sparkly shorts. What was the moment that moment where you're like, I've got it now. I've cracked the that's never there. I don't know. Nah. There's been moments. Yeah. There's been moments where I got it now, and then the next show isn't as good. Okay, that's what I love about it. All right, how about this then? How about then the moment? You know, when you were the complete opposite of the terrible gig you had in that is it Toronto room? It was you just died. You died so badly. Oh, that was the Rivoli. Yeah. Okay, so how about the opposite of that then? The one when you didn't sleep so much because you were just. That and you were like, it's like the quickening when your jokes just come together, that could go there, and then that moment of electricity. Oh, I've had those. I've had a lot of those. Yeah, first one of those. I haven't a clue. That's great. I haven't a fucking idea. Right, I don't know. Well, this is more recent. Not more recent. This is like 20 years ago. More recent. Anyway, it was me, big Irish comic, Brendan Dempsey. Was hosting, and it was Dom Herrera, Lewis Black, and me. And this would be Kilkenny at the Cat's Laugh 1,000 years ago. All 3 of us, because Brendan was hosting, it's 3 acts on, in that order. We destroyed it. Like every word, every moment. It was electric. Wow. And 20 years later, the 3 of us still talk about it. We still talk about it because it was fucking magic. So there was that. But there was I remember once there was a club called Arbuckles. That's because if you want to start a comedy club, try to name it after a silent film actor who was accused of rape. Oh no! So Fatty Arbuckle. So and he was acquitted, and he just if there's any fans out, Arbuckles. When it was basically going in receivership, so the act sort of ran the room itself, and we couldn't afford to bring in any big acts. And we were all pretty good middle acts, some of us better middle acts, but most of us were just middle acts, pretty good. I became a headliner because somebody had to.
Yeah.
So I that's the first time I got headliner respect, where my normal act, which wasn't very good, did considerably better because I was the end guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was that moment too, but that just felt dishonest, more like a trick.
Yeah.
than deserved. But I don't remember anything specific. But I do remember Kilkenny because we still, in fact, we tried it again a couple of times with the same lineup.
Yeah.
But you just can't capture it again.
No.
It was unbelievable.
It only happens very rarely. It's like there's electricity. You see the audience, and you got it, and you know that they go. There was nothing. That it just becomes a perfect thing, isn't it?
It's like winning a lottery.
Yes,
every so often all the numbers line up.
Yeah, that's it.
I use that analogy for a lot of shit in life, but that's a prime example. The audience is or the right amount of people you need in that size room. Yeah. To turn the entire room on, and they have to all be like real comedy fans and get all the bits and and Edinburgh gives you that every so often, and the Melbourne festival a lot.
Yeah,
I had a lot of wonderful times at that fest. The same intensity, but that's an hour-long stuff. An hour-long festival show. I still think a 20, or here in Canada, when you do like 45-minute headliner spot. Yeah. And you kill in 45, you can really just destroy them in 45. Yeah. An hour is, you got to not modeling, but you have to, with that extra 15 it's a different kind of show. But to destroy for 20, like at the Comedy Store in London, there's fucking nothing like that. There's nothing like that.
Yeah. And you won the Barry Award in Melbourne International Comedy Festival, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or as my friend called it, the golden coconut at the Borneo Comedy Festival.
Right.
Why? I think one of the reasons I had such a great time there was because it was so far away from show business.
Right. The golden coconut. Why?
Yeah,
why
we got the golden coconut.
Because it's out in the middle of nowhere, right? Is that it?
Well, in my limited amount of travel at that time, I traveled quite a lot before that, but that was my first trip to Australia, and you don't think. I remember when I won it, it was given to me or presented to me with Noble, Ross. Mm. And later on, Ross was telling me, he goes, you have no fucking, because he had won it the year before. Mm. He goes, you have no idea what you've won. Mm. He goes, you have won a free ticket to Australia for the next 10 years. And that was absolutely, I ended up touring the country. I came back 2 or 3, 4, probably 5 times.
Wow.
And I got nominated again. Mm. And it's turned out to be just a miraculous. I did it with the Just for Laughs. We did the Opera House. That's what I tell the kids. Don't say no. Because all these mistakes, if you're lucky, lead to something beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I got to Edinburgh through a great deal of, or not so much mistakes, but after I had done Edinburgh, I got invited to England. That changed my life. And that was all just a series of mistakes.
And what year did you first do Edinburgh?
95. 94. It's funny. Greg Prooks is an old friend of mine. And he's got a mind. It's unbelievable, really. Yeah. And I said to him, how long have we known each other? And he was like, July 7th, 1994. And he was doing an interview with me because he was big in Britain at the time. And he was doing an interview with me for Radio 4, which I was in Canada. I thought it was like drive time radio. I didn't know British radio was so big. It was like a documentary on the Just for Laughs. And so Greg's just running around interviewing people. It was because of that interview. And then another thing I did, because Mark Thomas saw me and put me on a show that aired on Channel 4. So I was on TV and radio before I ever went to Britain. And that was just all sort of by fluke. But good fluke. Just keep yourself open.
Do your kids want to pursue any performance or things like that?
No.
Or no?
My eldest is, they're both huge comedy fans.
Right.
But my eldest, up until recently, along with me, used to work in comedy clubs.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she can't wait to like me.
Yeah. Get gone home.
I was at the club. And I did short because there were other people on and I was sort of a guest. I wasn't even on. She goes, I'll give you the light at 8. And you can see the joy in her face. And she's bossing me around.
Yeah. Get you to tell you to shut up.
But they're both, the whole family grew up in it. It's like I'm like a circus, like we were talking. It's like a circus performer. When they were little, we brought them to like hotels. And we brought them once because the asshole booker told me it was like at some high-end ski resort. And when we got there, it was next to a high-end ski resort. It was just a giant tavern. And it was me and the Foxy Boxers, which were these gay strippers. And they would just beat the shit at each other topless. Yeah. And they were all coked out on. And we had 2 little kids in the hotel with all these coked out punching Foxy Boxers. Because
you do corporates as well, don't you, Mike?
Oh, no.
Do you not?
Christ, have you seen my act?
No,
you can't do that. I have done corporates where I have left like I just took a giant shit on stage.
Adam Bloom, a friend of mine, said to me that he was on, I think, a corporate with you once, and it was an absolute bear pit, and then everyone was just trying to get their attention, and you just walked onto the stage and just kind of just did your act, and then they just came with you like that. And just
I've done a few, but I don't specialize.
Right, okay.
Right, the ones that I have done out of, let's say, 20, 3 were okay. So he was on the third one. I've done a few where the corporates, I don't know that culture, and when I feel cornered, I get something else comes out,
right?
Because I want to offend them.
Do you have a problem with rage at the beginning?
No, I only get angry on stage in my own head,
right? But
never at any one. I fully understand why someone would hate me.
Right. Okay.
I've always given them the, I don't want them to be rude about it. Like I don't like people that watch the whole show so they can come back and tell you you're horrible, or rude, because basically they just were ruder than you could possibly be by waiting through the entire. Not go outside and sit in the parking lot. Come attack me later. Don't watch the whole fucking thing if you don't like it, you idiot. Now how can I respect you? You're clearly a fool.
When you first started, then was it just the fear that was the biggest thing you had to overcome? Then it wasn't like just fear.
Because making your friends laugh and making a room full of strangers laugh could not be different. Making friends laugh is easy because you can be specific. You know everyone. Making strangers laugh is weird because it's a whole. Some people out there. Some are veterinarians. Some are unemployable people. They're all there. And, they didn't. Unlike today, where with Twitter and everything, you can basically have an audience of 200 people that are just like you, which I find terrifying.
Being from Canada, I guess you had to do the gigs. I was talking to another comedian now, is King. So his first name is
Simon.
Simon, thank you, Simon King. And he was saying about the journeys that you have to do, one end of the country to another. Sometimes he was saying,
Canada's, yeah. We used to. All of us loved when we first came out. I'm talking Phil Nickel, Tony Law. Well, he was out. He learned doing stand up out there. But back even Americans like Rich Hall, we would laugh at Brits. Oh, we have to get up to whatever. We got to get. Oh, I got to be in whatever. That's Stratford. I got to get up to Oxford and back.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck you. I remember out west, you would have to leave early in the morning to get to a gig late at night, and you lost an hour as you were driving because you crossed the hour line.
Oh.
So it's 7 o'clock again.
Yeah. Oh no, that's terrible.
And you were driving to some place that hated your guts, and you knew it on the way. And oh fuck yeah, man! And in weather conditions that would scare the living shit out of the Brits.
Yeah, I remember years ago I used to work on the cruise ships as another life, and it was tough gig, and we went to Ketchikan, Seward, and all the Alaskan areas. Did you go and gig up there as well?
I did. The furthest north, I was in really northern Quebec, past the tree line with the Inuit. I was near the narwhal hunt or something. So that was it. That was the furthest remote where you get on the airplane and half the airplane is cargo.
Yeah.
and then the back half for passengers. That was fucking wild. I've been to places. I remember I did one in really northern, was it, it's Manitoba or Saskatchewan. But again, it just, when you get further past the tree line, it just becomes like you're on a different planet. I was coming out of this motel, like it wasn't even a hotel. It's just like this strip frozen motel, like you'd see in Fargo or something like that. I used to wear a suit all the time when I worked. And I'm wearing a suit and tie, an overcoat, and I'm walking out of this shit motel to get into a cab to go to this small arena for a fundraiser for a curling team. And as I'm leaving, 2 Indian guys are walking into the motel. One guy looks at me and sees that I'm wearing a suit and tie and just says, "Good evening, Your Honor." He thought I was the head of a justice of the peace. Used to come in once a month because it's that remote. They don't need a court system, and they assumed the town thought it was me. So I thought, these are the kind of gigs you're going to have to remember.
That was in the Outback, right? And were they appreciative of like you coming all that way to do the gig?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But in the same token, they look at the act and think, this guy's got to be shit if he's here.
Yeah, right.
A lot of the Northwest is like that. You have to in the first 8 minutes, you have to be funny enough so you can then say in the first 8 minutes, you thought I was going to be shit, didn't you? Yeah. And then by that point, you've got it.
That's great.
You can't even enjoy a bit of luck. Yeah. Where my career's on the downslope, your gig's on the upswing, and we meet tonight.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, they don't get it. They don't. Yes, but I'm the same.
Yeah.
We doubt Canadian talent. Like it's pathetic.
Right.
Like when we ran the musical, The Producers, in town, Sean Cullen was the great Sean Cullen was Max Bialystock in the production. Even Mel Brooks was amazed at the talent that this guy had and how and he improv. They'd let him go off a little, but they had to close because of lack of interest because everyone thought, well, we'll just drive to New York. We'll see the other one. Why see the Canadian one? And what a fucking shame. Having said that, I didn't see the fucking thing. But I'm not even going to New York. I don't know. What am I going to sit in the theater? I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Maybe a 12-minute show. I could do a 12-minute Cole's Books version of any play. I'll watch the 12-minute version. Just cut all the acting out and read real quick.
Did you? What was the? I tried to watch the Nutcracker a few years ago. Oh, I was asleep in the first 20 minutes. I was out. It's too warm.
Yeah, my kids make fun of me. I have no attention span for. The last movie I saw was The Hobbit.
Oh yeah.
And I was crawling even with the 3D. The only time I see movies is on an airplane where I have no fucking option.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in a chair and I have to watch a movie.
With the worst gigs thing, what is like the if you don't have to name the place, but what is the place that you kind of go, oh man, the worst thing that's potentially happened to you when you've been on stage? Is there, like, apart from dying, there must have been some crazy things in the last 30 years that you've...
I've had some shit. I had a beer thrown at me at the Comedy Store with a plastic cup. But that got my heart rate up. I was quite... that's assault in a way, because it's an idea they're whipping at you. And he was picked up and carried out of that club so fast. And I adore the Comedy Store, and I adore all the people at the Comedy Store. And apparently the guy was thrown against the Prince of Wales Theatre across the street, thrown right against the wall. And as he hit the ground, they stood over him and said, "Not Uncle Mike."
Nice.
And my heart swelled. I thought that was just fucking brilliant.
Great.
But other than that, I've never really felt... I had a guy pull a starter's pistol on me in Toronto, just up the street from where I live, at a place called Zach's. Right. It was like next to a strip club. It was a horrible, just a big, where they played "Everybody Dance Now," like that kind of horrible place. And they did comedy. So I think if you went and saw the show, you got into the venue cheaper. Right, so no one was there. They hated comedy. They were there. They wanted to dance and fuck. They didn't want to see you. And a guy just out of nowhere pulled a pistol out and fired like 4 or 5 shots.
Whoa.
And it turns out he was the cousin of the owner, and they got a big laugh. Wow. And I stayed on.
Jesus. Yeah.
I needed stage time. You don't even think.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, I clutched to my chest, it's a starter's pistol, and kept going.
Wow. That's Fair play.
Yeah,
You've overcome an awful lot there. That's not just a heckle. That's it's
the same as a heckle, but it's more concise.
Yeah, for sure. To the point. Wow, God. I mean, anything could go better than that after that moment.
After
isn't it?
Somebody fires anything at you, you figure, that's some form of heckle.
That is, that's a teachable moment for sure. There's nothing can stop you then. You're quite dirty, right?
Yeah.
So have you always been dirty? Did you ever try to go to the other side, the light side?
No. I've always got a giant childish thrill about being inappropriate.
Great.
It's a huge thing for me. And getting away with it without offending people is my favorite part of it. I like people laughing at things they never, ever thought they would laugh at.
That's great.
To me, that's I don't like there's too many shock comedians that'll come up to me and think we're pals, because a lot of the things I say are inappropriate. No, what you say is horrible. That's how I open a bit. I'll open with the horrible, but I'll close with the funny.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. So.
Plus, I don't think I'm being that dirty.
Okay.
I've never thought I was that dirty, and I'm sure all my dirty friends don't think they're that dirty. Like, I don't think if you ever said to Patrice that was too dirty, he would just, I could see his face in my head right now just going, what? What do you mean dirty? That's not dirty. And he got dirty.
Yeah. But he's just being honest of who he is, isn't he? That's who you are.
Yeah. Don't, fuck. I just, you can watch people get shot in the head on YouTube. Like, like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm what's so dirty about a guy, like me? It's more pathetic than filthy.
When you first started then, or like the many skins that you've had throughout your comedy career, like did you ever have like a model in your head of what you could potentially be? I ask this question to everyone. It's quite a long question. So like, do you have like a model or a character or a job, or it could be a being that you were at the beginning, in the middle, or now?
Well, I don't understand the question at all. Okay,
basically the question is like, did you ever have like a specific idea of what kind? Like, okay, for example, Sean Mio sees himself as a gunslinger, a gun for hire. He goes around. I
can see that.
The UK, killing like that. But so do you have you don't have to have one, but if you did.
I think when I was a kid, I didn't have anything. I had no thoughts whatsoever on that level. But I remember once I was in 10, 12 years, I really liked the concept of being inappropriate nightclub entertainer. I liked being a nightclub entertainer. I liked the entire idea of a 250 seat room, very much like the Comedy Store or any of the clubs that I adore are a nightclub, and I want to be a good inappropriate nightclub entertainer. And I think at one point I wanted to keep this old school feel about it. That's when I would wear a suit and everything like that. I think a lot of that was I was trying to look older than I was, and trying to make a connection with an old Vegas-y kind of feel. But then when I played Vegas, I realized how much I fucking despise that town, and I got rid of all that bullshit.
Right.
And just I like nightclub stuff. I've done giant theaters. I've done, I've done everything from the Grand Ole Opry to the Sydney Opera House. And although as thrilling and amazing as that is, it still doesn't hold a fucking candle to a really good nightclub.
You got to really wait for them to finish laughing, I guess, isn't it? It's just not. There's no momentum.
Well, that millisecond, it doesn't throw me off, but that millisecond is crucial to get to that level, to that big level, where people are hurting. So I just want to be a proficient nightclub entertainer.
Yeah. And do you write sitcoms as well, or like?
Oh fuck no!
No, just pure.
I've been offered, and the only thing I've ever really written is a few years back. Rich Hall and I did a couple of TV shows on British television, and I wouldn't call it typewriter writing. We were banging ideas around for a few weeks. That was exciting as hell and thrilling. He's an old friend. It was like making home movies. I do a lot of improvisation with my act. I did a television program out here, done by the same guy that we did the Pete Tong movie. We did a 5 or 6 part miniseries. I'm saying that because it never got picked up. 5 or 6 part miniseries. I did a lot of improvisation, as I did in Pete Tong, but not because I'm savvy with that. It's just I have a great deal of difficulty memorizing.
Right.
Because I just don't. If I just can't seem to care enough.
But that's important, isn't it?
I guess.
I think that's
I'm pretty lucky for a guy that never aimed at that shit. That I've done so much of it. In my book, I've done so much of it. In an actor's book, I've barely wiggled my toes.
Right.
But I did a couple of plays. Because I thought, well, that's better than doing acting. Because I knew I couldn't take acting lessons because I wouldn't listen to some fucking unemployable actor telling me how to act. I did Richie wrote a couple of plays, so I did a couple of plays. Did that for a couple of months, and that was a ridiculous idea that I had that would teach me how to act. But it was thrilling. I wouldn't go out of my way to try to do another one.
Have you done voiceover work as well?
Yes, in fact, and this is a godsend. The money I just desperately needed. It was a British children's show.
Oh yeah.
Called Moon and Valley, and you know the guy that does Toast.
Yes. Oh God, yeah, he's brilliant.
It's him and the guys from Little Britain.
Matt Berry.
And I can't remember. Oh Christ. And I looked at the IMDb of it. Kate Winslet.
Wow.
And I did it in a little studio.
Yeah.
And I have I'm a regular character, Stinky. Yeah. So I was doing that. I've done a few voice work. I would like to do more of it.
Yeah.
But my career is sort of, well, it's everyone's is in limbo.
Yeah.
But the market here is so small, and we have some really good voice people that, like anything with voice, they'll go like, okay, do Wilmot. And then the best guys do me better than I can do me.
Oh, no. And they can get you cheaper, isn't it, as well? Come on.
Well, no. Plus, I'd work cheaper than them. They get the big bucks because they can do everybody.
Oh, no. Oh, that's not good.
It's everywhere with big voice. Like, you look at guys like Billy West. Like, he's incredible. Like, he's absolutely incredible. And, like, why would you want anyone but him? Again, I want more work. I've lowered my standards incredibly.
That's it. Available to work for Bitcoin.
Yes, any and all. I will take it all.
Yeah.
But that was right when we needed it.
Yeah, great. And so, like, what's on the horizon next then, Mike? Apart from the more voiceover work and stuff like that.
Who knows? I'm trying to put together with a friend of mine. He's a young comic out here in Canada. Tyler Morrison. He produces stuff I do. He wants to produce some kind of pod bullshit, but something you can do with cameras and we're going to do location stuff and just some ridiculous crap that I want to. It's like fiercely optimistic. It's a show where we are going to find the silver lining in every episode. And we make, of course, the joke about it, but with the idea that for shaved apes, we're not doing that bad.
Okay, cool. So a bit of hope at the end of each episode.
Hope might be a little over optimistic, but just to keep going is optimism enough. Just to keep going. Okay, you know what? Okay, bring on tomorrow. Yeah. That kind of optimism.
You can have cynicism in the hope, can't you?
Of course. Yeah, of course. It. How to be a cynical optimist.
That's great. And so, Mike, where can we find you?
What do you mean? On the Twitter?
On the Twitter, everywhere.
I'm Mike Wilmot 1. I had to put the 1 in because this other Mike Wilmot beat me to it. A kind kid, he's out in America. He told me I could have Mike Wilmot, but I said, I like Mike Wilmot 1. So I kept that. And I'm on the Insta thing, which I don't know what I'm called. It's Mike Wilmot again. You'll find me. Yeah. You'll look at my head. Facebook, I think I'm on that. But if I could get your 48 followers onto me, that would radically change my life.
Mate, you better follow me. I better get 49 out of this interview, I swear to God.
I am going to follow you. I'm doing it as we speak.
Perfect.
Me and my hot microphone. I'm going to look you up. And you are, hold on. Here we go. Wait, I'm not kidding. I'm not fucking around. I'm going to find you. Hold on. Wait, I don't know. Here we go. Wait.
God.
Here, Winter Man. Is that you?
No, that's not me, man. I'm Winter Dominus is what I am because no one can pronounce my last name, Mike. So Winter Dominus. That's me.
So, okay, well, hold on. And I know this is awkward, but, let's be honest.
No,
not
that's
a lot
fine.
of people are listening. So
That's fine.
let's just drag this out.
Yeah.
And a D.
O-M.
O-M.
I-N-U-S.
I-N-U-S. Okay, well, no, nothing came up, but I know I looked you up earlier because I wanted to make fun of your Twitter. And Adam Bloom says you're a joy to watch.
Oh, that's true.
So I've been to your website.
Thanks,
I've been
man.
to your website.
Thank you.
If Adam says that,
Yeah.
then I don't know. He just needs friends.
But
I've known that since he was a kid.
Wow.
Fuck. I will follow you though. I will just for fun.
Thanks, Mike. Just for the laugh. See how I get on. See if I lose followers. That's what you'll be watching.
Well, I've been hovering around the same number of people for years. You follow me, you prick, and I'll follow you back.
No worries. That's how it works, man.
Yeah. I'm the senior one in this exchange. Fucking kids.
Fine.
Do you know etiquette when it comes to Twitter?
That's fine. Yeah, I should mind my manners. I don't understand. I'm from Ireland. I don't have the same Canadian manners as yourself. But
Wow.
was like, look, so we can find you at Mike Wilmot 1, and man, you've been 5 wins for comedy competition awards, 5 wins for comedy awards, 11 nominations. Amazing, man.
Try to remember 3 of those were Golden Beaver Awards. So don't get too worked up.
All right, I'll try not to. But I'm so glad you're following me now. This is what it is. So I'm just getting excited.
Well, that's still up in the air.
All right, okay. Well, Mike, thank you so much for spending the
My pleasure,
last
young
hour.
man.
So I really appreciate it, and it's just so nice to talk to someone that's been going so long as yourself and still smashing it. That's what it's nice to know.
That's right, man.
So thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. You take care of yourself.
And that was episode 114 with the hilarious Canadian comic that is Mike Wilmot. He's a beautiful curmudgeon. I hope you liked the intro there because he was taking the piss out of me. He was taking the piss out of the podcast. And that's what comedy's about, right? You got to take the piss out yourselves and be humble, allow yourself to be laughed at. That's what it's about. Don't take comedy or life too seriously. He's a brilliant comic. If you ever see him on a bill at the store or around the country, go and check him out. You will not be disappointed. He's excellent. That's Mike Wilmot, 1 the number. That's MikeWilmot, 1 the number. He's on Twitter and Instagram. Go and follow him. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Winter Dominus. That's WinterDominus. And if you like this podcast and you want to go to Facebook, you can like our page, the Comedy Defect Facebook page. You can join the Comedy Defect Facebook group where I'll post the podcast first and also gig events that I got coming up around Hertfordshire as well. So I run a few gigs. I run one in Redbourne, which is in Hertfordshire, and that's just outskirts of St Albans, and that's the first Tuesday of the month. Now, it's not a big room, so if you want to get your tickets, you get them quick because that place sells out really, really quickly. You get people that come down from live at the Apollo, and we got people that are just breaking away from the circuit into TV. So we have loads of variety of people at different stages of their career, and just me emceeing it, or one of my friends emceeing it because my legs might still be broken then, holding it all together. But it's a lovely room, and it's where comedy lives. It's a live medium. It doesn't really live online. TikTok and all that stuff, yeah, it's just ephemeral, just in and out. It lives better in a live environment. It's just so much more fun. There's some crazy stuff happened a few months ago, and I'll come down and I'll speak to you about it. Come see me at the gig and we'll discuss about comedy. If you ever want to get into comedy as well, I'm happy to talk about comedy and how to do it and how to get into it, because it's not an easy thing to do, but it's such a rewarding and enjoyable thing once you sort of feel like you're part of it. It's a wonderful thing, and it feeds your soul, and also can destroy you, but you got to be careful. Trying to find the balance is hard because it's such an addictive thing. So as I say, you can find me there, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those places. Now, if you like this podcast enough, you want to donate, you can, or not. Or just, if you like an episode, tell your friends about it because it tells people where we are and what we're up to. And, look, if you want to buy me coffee, you can. Go to Patreon, type in the Comedy Defect podcast and donate as little or as much as you feel this podcast is worth. If you can't donate, that's all right. I say just tell your friends about your favourite episode. Or you can leave me a nice review if you ever see me at a gig or something like that, or come up to me and shake my hand. That's cool. That's cool too. I don't mind that. Just, it just gives me fuel to keep going. But like, these episodes were recorded during lockdown. I hope you enjoying them, because it took me a long time after working myself into the ground during lockdown to kind of like resurface and give myself to sort of put out more energy into this. So I hope you're enjoying these and finding some nuggets of information that are really helping inspire you and kind of get you going and thinking about comedy and maybe even getting into it. Like, man, it was tough for me at the beginning, and it was, you know, even the middle, and you know, this isn't the end, but I'm just sort of like in the middle now, just going through it. But it's always a bit of a slog sometimes to start up and get going. I get it, but you know, just start. Honestly, just start. If you want to come to my gigs, you can come there and talk to me about comedy. I'm open. I'm easy to talk to, mate. You come speak to me, or female mates. That's a non-gender specific, mate. So look, if man, woman, whatever in between, come speak to me about comedy if you want to get into it. Look, I'm happy to share the knowledge that I've learned along the way, and look, inspire the next generation of comedians. Why not? But come see us the first Tuesday of the month, Redbourne, if you want to see some live comedy, and that will be every month from now until, well, maybe the place kind of changes hands. I don't know. Hopefully they'll be lasting a long time there. But hey, look, you know, when the venue isn't yours, it can change so quickly. Look, that's it for episode 114. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, share your favorite episode or share this one and tell your friends about it. Look, or just go see Mike Wilmot. He's brilliant. Or come see me on the first Tuesday of the month in Redbourne at the Mad Hatter's Tea Room. Check it out. It's brilliant. And get your tickets online. It's only a small venue. Next month for July's episode, we've got the incredible Vivian Kay. She's been on AAA stand-up. She's tearing up on a London scene, and she's been to Edinburgh so many times, man. She's just smashing it. She's got an interesting voice, but you'll hear that in episode 115. And then as for July's episode. So until then, enjoy your June. Have a barbecue. We'll see you at the end of July, last Wednesday of the month.